Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So today I have another Shadow of War video for you guys. There's been a lot of gameplay released on IGN about this game and it's getting me super excited because the more that's revealed about the game, the more I'm loving it and the more I want to see. Also guys, I just want to say before we get into the video, I'm going to be trying to upload daily now. I'm going to kind of do the thing where I make a video, schedule it for the next day, and then make a video on the day when the video I scheduled is meant to go up and stuff like that, because I kind of want to upload more. And, you know, I want to just upload daily instead of every other day because I want to release more videos for you guys. And hopefully it will help the overall growth of my channel because I've realized that since uploading every other day, the growth has been halted on the days in which I hadn't uploaded. So I'm going to upload daily and see if that affects my growth. Hopefully it will. But today for you guys, I have reasons why Shadow of War is doing sequels right. So without any further ado, let's get straight into the video, guys. So first of all, I think a huge reason why Shadow of War is doing sequels right, because they're just taking everything that was amazing in the first game and they're making it so much better. Like the gameplay mechanics are the same, combat is still the same, and some of the animations are even still the same, like Talion's running animation and even some combat finishes. Monolith aren't trying to reinvent the game, they're just taking everything that was so great in the first game and making it so much better, which is what a sequel should be really. It shouldn't be having a game in the first in the series and then having the second one being completely different. The second one should just be a continuation of the first game, and you should be able to see that with having all of the features that were in the first game but improved substantially and then added features on top of that as well. An example of this would be the Nemesis system. Now everyone loved the Nemesis system in Shadow of Mordor. It was like the main selling point of the game. It was the best part of the game. Like the story was mediocre, but you could spend hours hunting down captains in the Nemesis system. Now obviously it's back in Shadow of War and it's so much more in depth in terms of the diversity of Orc, Olog High, Siege Beasts, and many new archetypes of enemies that you can control, and there's so many more different fears and weaknesses that they can have, so many different strengths that they can have, and it just makes everything feel so much more in depth. And it really shows that Monolith have taken the Nemesis system that was from Shadow of Mordor, gone over everything in it and added so much more to it and just rounded it off and improved it so much for the sequel. Similarly with the skill sets that Talion has and the different skills that he can utilize in battle, he has all the skills that were in Shadow of Mordor plus loads they put on top of that for the next game, which I think is awesome, because why would he forget the skills that he learned through Shadow of Mordor in the beginning of the sequel? It doesn't make any sense. So it's great that they've chosen to keep all of those skills as a default for the sequel and add so much more so he can become so much more powerful than he was in the first game in Shadow of War. The game has also got returning characters, obviously, like Talion and Celebrimbor, which I actually wasn't expecting. Like, I don't know why, but before the game was announced, I was just thinking that Talion and Celebrimbor wouldn't be in the next game. I really don't know why, because it makes no sense as to why they wouldn't be in the game, but they're in the game, which makes me happy. Now, the story in Shadow of Mordor was quite weak. It wasn't that great. Obviously, as I said earlier, the main attraction of Shadow of Mordor was the Nemesis system. Now I really hope that they see the reaction they got to the story in Shadow of Mordor and make the story great, interesting, with awesome characters and awesome features in Shadow of War, because that's something that I really respect in games, is if it has a great story. That's something that just wasn't in Shadow of Mordor, so I'd love to see it in Shadow of War, because there's so many different stories you can do in the Lord of the Rings world, and it's definitely a really interesting place to set a game. What I'm trying to say is, Monolith knew the formula they used in the first game worked, so they took every feature from the first game, went over these features, improved them, and then added more on top of this to further the game as a whole, which is a huge reason why Shadow of War, I believe, will be the perfect sequel to Shadow of Mordor. Another reason why I think Shadow of War is doing sequels right is because in this game, there seems to be so much more content than in the first game. There's just so much more to do. The game includes side activities such as barrows, an arena mode, fortresses, human-related side quests, and more, and this is a huge contrast to the first game, in which there wasn't an awful amount of content aside from the main story, and it seems like Monolith are really pushing side content in this game, which is really great to see, because I for one love side quests in games, because to me it builds the experience of the whole game further. So it makes me very happy to see that Monolith focus on pushing the side quests in the game that will offer various different rewards to the player. Shadow of Mordor lacked interesting side quests. There were only things that you could do with captains that you were dominated, and there was also kind of an odd human mission scattered every now and then, and the humans in Shadow of Mordor weren't all that interesting, and it seems like Monolith are really putting their time and effort into the the side content of this game this time, because there's so much more to do and there's so many interesting ideas that I think would be really cool. Therefore, the game will have more longevity now due to all of the side content that will be in the game, which is even better because it prolongs the experience and will just make the game a whole lot more enjoyable and will add depth to the world overall. Bear in mind that there are like 20 or more playable fortresses, and each fortress has its own playable region, so there won't be a shortage of content in the game at all. I feel like this is fucking insane, like the amount of content that will be in this game. 20 plus fortresses that you can dominate, you can put your own orcs in there, you can attack them, you can defend them, all of that content in 20 plus regions with varied levels of fortresses, meaning that to take on these fortresses you're going to need more powerful weapons and gear, and you're going to need to be a higher level with more skills and abilities to be able to take it down and install your own orcs in power. Now obviously these 20 playable regions aren't going to be huge, they're going to be kind of more centered around the fortress itself, but I feel like it's kind of awesome that we have a lot of variety in terms of the different landscapes that we'll be able to traverse, because in the original gameplay we saw quite a fiery place, and then we've seen quite, you know, green places with lots of forests and stuff like that. So it's cool to see the diversity of different settings that we have in terms of the fortresses. And then on top of that, we've obviously got probably like maybe 2 or 3, I don't quite know, maybe 2 or 3 huge playable areas that are kind of the main open world, which will be where the majority of our questing and the main quest in general takes place. You also won't be just attacking fortresses, you're going to have to defend fortresses that are taken by your orcs or human settlers that are being challenged by other factions of orc. And I feel like this is kind of cool because it kind of gives a sense of duality to the whole taking things, because not only can you go and take fortresses, but you're also going to have to defend that and defend your own property against all of the other enemy factions that want to take it back, which overall just adds another activity into the game and another thing that you need to worry about, which overall adds more diversity and depth to the game because there's just more content in it. Lastly, a huge reason why Shadow of War is doing sequels right is because there will be more RPG aspects in this game. Now a lot of you may notice that in Shadow of Mordor there weren't many RPG aspects in terms of weapons, quest givers and that sort of stuff, but in this game they're completely taking a whole different approach on it and adding many different things such as armor and weapons, capes, runes that Talion can use, and you can level up and get higher gear and weapons. Now a lot of you may know from my other videos, I love weapons and armor in games, and I love to see progression as you level up and get better weapons and gear, and as you move towards getting the highest level gear in the game. I just love it. It's something to work towards in the open world of the game, and is the main reason why I do a lot of the side quests in the game, and is also one of the reasons why I love side quests. So if just getting high level gear in general isn't enough incentive for you to get this high level gear and do the side quest to get it, if you have a complete set of one type of gear, armor, weapons and runes, it will give you extra bonuses like in The Witcher 3. So in The Witcher 3, if you got a full set of Grandmaster Witcher gear, you'd get a lot of bonuses from that because the pieces of armor and weapons complemented each other. On top of this, there will be unique armor, weapons and runes that you'll be able to acquire through doing the harder, more challenging quests in the game. So there's something to work towards as you become more powerful and equip high level gear. Now I also love unique armor, like something like the armor of Altair in Assassin's Creed 2, something that's unlocked through doing a challenging quest or activity. Possibly in Shadow of War, unique armor and weapons will be related to the questline revolving around Celebrimbor's secret barrows. I think it'd be awesome if at the end of this quest line we got the armor that Celebrimbor wears in all of the flashbacks, and you know, his elven armor that he wears all the time, because it's really nice looking armor, and I think it'd be really cool if we were to see Talion wearing it with a huge cape. It would just be really menacing, and it'd make for a perfect unique armor in the game. Lastly, I want to talk about skill trees. Now as I stated earlier, they've taken everything from the skill tree in Shadow of Mordor and added loads on top of it. So these includes things that affect his bow, sword, stealth capabilities, and things like Celebrimbor's hammer that you can throw at people that does an AoE attack, and ways of dominating different Uruk and summoning various different creatures to your aid, such as Caragors, humans, or spiders. Overall, Monolith have just realized their gameplay system in Shadow of Mordor was a great one because it was based off the Batman Arkham games, and it was just a great overall gameplay system, so they've just taken it and added everything they can to it, and they've done really well in terms of their gameplay system and improving it in the sequel. So that is basically everything, guys. I just wanted to go over the reasons why I personally think Shadow of War is doing sequels right. Each new piece of gameplay has completely blown me away and given me even more excitement for the game. I'm really excited for this game. I wasn't expecting it to be that amazing when I first heard of the reveal, but Monolith are doing a great job of making a great sequel to one of my favorite games I've ever played, because Shadow of Mordor was a great game. I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead and like and subscribe for more content in the future, and let me know down in the comment section below reasons why you think Shadow of War is doing sequels right, and I will see you guys in the next video.